Hey guys, welcome back. So today in this video I show you how to recreate this very romantic sultry Valentine's Day inspired eyeshadow look. So without further ado, let's get right into this tutorial. So for starters, I had already done my eyebrows. Per usual, I have a video on my channel if you want to see how I do that. I went ahead and started by applying eyeshadow primer. I am using the Urban Decay one because it does have a longer lasting power. Following that, I went in with my Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette and picked up the color Mousse with a large fluffy brush and applied that all over the crease. So there was a nice shade of a transition color. So when we go back to apply more color, it blends in very nicely. Mousse just wasn't cutting it for me, so then I went back in with the color Truffles from the same palette, same brush, and applied that onto the crease. This allowed for the crease to have a little bit more depth and for the transition color to be a little bit more darker. Then I went in with this NYX Infinite Shadow Stick in the shade Flushed. This will allow for the pigments to adhere to something because they do tend to have a lot of fallout, so this will eliminate that possibility. Then I went in with the large fluffy brush and then I just blended out all the edges. I then went in with my MAC pigment in the shade Rose. It is from the Objects of Affection collection. I decided to use the pigment wet, so what I just used a little bit of setting spray, sprayed it onto the back of any hard surface, and I used a synthetic brush because a synthetic brush does allow me to have more control over where I apply the pigment and avoids major fallout. So basically I just wet the brush, pick up a little bit of the pigment and apply it onto the outer corner and the inner corner of the eye. Then I went in with a clean brush and pretty much just blended everything we just did. Going back to this old gem of mine, I picked up that pink color with the more defined crease brush and applied that onto the crease. I made sure I slowly intensified the color because I didn't want it to look muddy. So if you do the same, it's going to look more put together and it's not going to look as if you just applied color on top of color on top of color. With all the blending that we did, I did lose a little bit of that pigment, so I just went back in and applied a little bit more. Next, using this liquid liner with glitter, right above that I applied Raining Riches, which is this very thick glitter that came in that MAC collection that I initially used. First I used a brush, then I found that too difficult, so then I started patting it on with my finger. It was a lot easier once I did that. Had I known, I would have done that from the start. Just to blend those edges out, I used that same shading brush. Very carefully, without disturbing that glitter, I went back in with the large fluffy brush and blended out the crease color that we had first applied. Going in with another rounded crease brush from Sephora, picked up the color that was right below the original pink we used and applied that onto where we applied the first pigment, applied it onto the outer corner and the inner corner of the eye, then very lightly applied that same color to the crease because once again, I did not want to disturb that glitter and get it all over my face. Using a large fluffy brush, I picked up the color Butter Pecan from that Semi-Sweet palette and applied it onto the brow bone for highlight. Then with any kohl liner, I just tight lined my upper lash line. Then I went in with my Maybelline Line Stiletto liquid liner. The reason I didn't use my usual Kat Von D tattoo liners because I was just out of it. I don't have any of it anymore, and that's the only reason I used this one. This one does tend to reflect more light than the other one does, so just keep that in mind. To give my eyeshadow a completely different look, I decided to use my Red Cherry eyelashes in Wispy. First, I curled my lashes, and I gave them a very thin coat of mascara, and trust me, this adds just a whole different effect to your eyeshadow look. On a side note, I did recently purchase this mechanism or utensil on eBay for $1.50, and it has really stepped up my eyelash applying game. Then I went in with my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I did so because I wanted to make sure that my canvas, which is my face, had a very nice clean slate and my foundation really looked flawless. The foundation I'm using today is my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation in the shade 310. I do tend to work in sections because this foundation does dry out or set very quickly, so that's the only reason I do that. And to apply that, I use my Morphe G6 brush. It is very similar to the Sigma F80, only that this one is a little bit shorter and a lot more dense, which gives you more full coverage. For the sake of the video, I did speed up this process because it would have been probably an hour-long video if I didn't speed it up. So that's the only reason it looks like I'm going 100 miles per hour. Like, don't you wish we would be able to apply our foundation that quickly every day? I wouldn't have to wake up so early. Then I went in with my Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer in the shade Medium. I applied that under my eyes, on my nose, Cupid's bow, chin, and forehead. I did so to highlight that center of the face area. To blend that, I used my Real Techniques Face Expert brush. I have been recently using this one and I am in love with it. So if you don't like it for foundation like I didn't, maybe you should try it for concealer. It's really good and it blends out your concealer so smooth and so seamless. To blend out any visible lines from the concealer that weren't easily blended, I just go back in with my same foundation brush and then just blend everything out. To set my concealer, I'm using my everyday powder, which is the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 310, and I basically just apply it wherever I did apply concealer. Using my Sephora Los Cabos bronzing powder, I bring back more warmth to my face. I apply that onto my cheekbones, my temples, my forehead, my jawline, and my neck. This is pretty much just going to bring back more definition to the face because we did lose some of it when applying the foundation. Picking up my e.l.f. contour brush and picking up a little bit of that same bronzing powder, I am going to contour my nose. That is the only thing I contoured today. I chisel it out just so it could look more chiseled, more defined, and a lot thinner. And I don't have to pay for plastic surgery, so that's a big plus. And I did the same thing to the bottom of my lip. This will make my bottom lip appear a lot fuller. Then I pick up my BH Cosmetics San Francisco palette. I don't usually tend to pick this up, but when I do, I only pick it up for blush because it is so beautiful. And I apply that with my Real Techniques stippling brush. Then going back to that same palette, I pick a little bit of that highlight and apply it to the high points of my cheek. Going back to the Coastal Scents palette, I used that pink shade right there, and I used an e.l.f. blending brush. What I did, I applied that to my bottom lash line just to tie in the entire look and bring some of that pink to the bottom as well. Using the MAC Whisper Pink pigment, I picked up a little small detailed brush and I applied that onto the inner duct. My camera decided to die, so I wasn't able to shoot that section, but you pretty much get the idea. For my lips, I use my NYX Coffee Lip Liner as well as my Revlon Just Fit and Kissable Balm Stain in the shade Honey, and that is what gave me this really nice neutral lip. So this is the end result, guys. I really hope you like this Valentine's Day inspired eyeshadow look. You can wear it any day, not just for Valentine's, but it's just so sultry and it screams romantic. Oh, I love it. I hope you really liked this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.